I'm going to show you the hammock that I got for bike packing. A lot of people have asked me to show this after my recent bike packing videos that I uploaded. Now obviously this is going to apply for any type of camping as long as you have trees nearby. And so it's the Warbonnet Ridgerunner. I'll talk about the things that I really like about it and maybe a couple things that I don't. I'll also show the quilts that I use with the hammock. Now when I did my shopping for a hammock, and let me just say that I like hammocks a lot, and the reason I like hammocks is you're off the ground in case it rains, you're not packing up a nasty ground cloth when it's time to pack up, and to me it's just more comfortable. Now I don't sleep well in a gathered end hammock. This is a bridge style hammock, and we'll take a look at it. So here it is, the Warbonnet Ridgerunner in the stuff sack. It's a bridge style hammock that uses spreader bars, and it is the most comfortable night's sleep that I get. And when I was shopping, I narrowed it down to two. I narrowed it down to the Warbonnet Ridgerunner and the Skylight. I ended up going with the Ridgerunner, and I'll explain why in this video when I show the features. But the Skylight was one that I literally debated for like 3 weeks. Fortunately, just sent me the Skylight to review along with some quilts. So I'm going to do another video where I show that hammock, because that actually has some features that I like, and it's a lower price point. So this hammock, as it sits, is $250. Now they say, like on the website, you can start it at like $130, but this is the double layer. I got it with the straps, so you can get it just plain, no straps, and do your own straps. You can get it single layer or double layer. I recommend the double, and I'll explain why when I show the hammock setup. You can get it with or without the net. I recommend getting it with the net. So typically you're going to be at about $250 with the straps. So you'll see it comes in a double-sided stuff sack. In fact, the webbing's kind of coming out the other side, but it makes the setup really easy. It also comes with the poles, of course. And the poles, I got this bag. One thing that I didn't really like is how much I paid for it, not coming with a stuff sack for the poles. So the poles cannot fit in the stuff sack with the hammock. That's actually one thing I like about the Skylight, is the poles are shot corded. These are not. And also they can fit inside the stuff sack. So again, I think both of them have really good features, but I think those are some of the best ones on the market right now. There's also a really good one by Dutchware Gear, but this one just had features that I like better. So these are the poles that come with it. The poles actually do fit inside each other. And so you've got 2 poles on one end, and they're gray. The ones that go on the foot end, the ones that go on the head ends. There's actually 3 pieces. So I would highly recommend getting a stuff sack for these, because you can lose them. I just put it like that. You can lose them. So for the price I paid, I felt like it should have come with a stuff sack. I'll show you how easy this is to set up. So the stuff sack, the red strap is the head end. Of course, that's the foot end, which helps you when you're setting it up to not have to guess, because they are different. The spreader bars are more narrow on the foot end. So all you have to do is open up one side of the stuff sack. So I'm going to set up the foot end first. And I really like the option with the webbing. I have to walk this around the tree because this is a fat tree. Webbing and the carabiner. It's just really easy. Like, all I have to do is wrap this around the tree and then clip on the carabiner. That's it. Warbonnet recommends the trees being 13 to 17 feet apart. And so that's really the only thing you got to look out for. They also recommend having the foot end to be about 16 inches higher than the head end. It's preference, but that tends to be the most comfortable. Now it will come off the ground more once we put the spreader bars in. So it's going to hang pretty low, but I'm going to get it off the ground a little bit more. Now obviously I've got to loosen the side on the head end and tighten the side on the foot end, because I want to get that foot end higher. So all you have to do is pull on this. It's got little D-rings, and all you got to do is pull. Then we'll put in the spreader bars. So the gray spreader bars go on the foot end. I just thought of another advantage of hammock camping. So it's summer, if you can't tell by all the cicadas out here, is you're off the ground from all the ants and bugs. There are ants everywhere right now. So you're high off the ground from all that stuff. And then on the head end, the black bars, and they are wider. You can see that the tips, they just go through the webbing here. That's how the poles go in. Now the one downside to this is when I have a tarp over this hammock, it's fairly close, and you've got to be really careful when you get out because on a bridge style hammock, if you just get out without holding the other side down, the hammock will rotate up sharply, and that could put a hole in your tarp. Again, that's another feature I like about the Eno Skylight, is that they don't have the sharp end like that, but I'll show you that when I show that hammock in another video. So that's what it looks like when it's set up. So you can see this one, I have the bug net, and I would really recommend getting the bug net. Now, one of the things I like about the Warbonnet Ridgerunner, which is one of the reasons I went with it, is the bug net can completely unzip and go into the foot area. And that way, if it's cold out and there's no bugs, then you can just completely unzip it and look at the stars. And then you just roll it up and tie it into the foot end. So that's what it looks like with the bug net completely zipped out of the way, which I do on nights when it's below like 45 degrees. Another thing that I like about this hammock is the saddlebags. So it's got these pockets on the side. That one's really deep, and then the one on this side is a little less deep. They connect, but there's a little ridge here in the middle. And you can put, like, you know, a book, a water bottle, your phone. I typically put my phone at the head end. So there's actually a pocket up here, and what I do is I'll just reach up behind me and put my phone in here before I go to sleep. The final reason I went with this one is it's a double layer. So what you can do is you can put a camping mattress in between the layers if it's too warm for an underquilt. So the underquilt that I have is a 0 degree, because I like camping when it's really cold out, and I have to add about 10 to 20 degrees to a rating. And so I like camping when it's in the 20s. But if it's in like the 60s, then you can put a sleeping pad underneath in that layer. Now, you could just lay one in the hammock. Also, the double layer is going to be better for people who are heavier, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and lay in the hammock so you can see what it looks like. As I do, I'm going to hold the other side. If you put your hand on the other side, you can do it so it doesn't flip up. Okay, and it has some kind of reinforced webbing there. I probably need to tighten those straps a little bit more. This one sank down a little bit. Let me do that real quick. I'm going to tighten the head in. Sometimes when you first get in it, the straps will tighten against the tree, so I'm going to just tighten the head in just a bit. Something else I love about hammock camping is when you have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, it's pretty easy. Much better than a tent. So as I mentioned earlier, this is literally the most comfortable night's sleep I get in the outdoors. That is a bridge style hammock. And the reason is, in a gathered in hammock, you may or may not know this, you have to sleep diagonally, otherwise you'll be like a banana, and that's very uncomfortable. Whereas this, I don't have to worry about that. I'm a side sleeper, and so these bridge style hammocks allow me to just rotate on my side, and I don't have to worry about getting in a diagonal position. So super, super comfortable. I'm gonna zip the bug net back up, and I'm gonna show you the underquilt that I got also from Warbonnet. And that is the final reason I went with the Warbonnet, is I could get a really cold underquilt. Whereas the Eno, it had a 30 to 50 degree underquilt, which may be fine for a lot of people out there. I wanted an underquilt that could go down to pretty cold temperatures. But I'm telling you, I got the Eno stuff in a few days ago, and it is really nice. Really, really nice stuff too. So this is the Lynx underquilt. You can get this in a 0, a 20, or a 40. Obviously the 40 is going to be a lot smaller than this. It's a down underquilt, so it'll pack up really small and be really warm. You just got to be careful you don't get it wet. So this just has 4 little carabiners, and they just go on each of the 4 corners of the hammock. Really quick and easy to set this up. The easiest way to do this is you just flip it over, and then the Warbonnet logo goes at the head end. So again, all I have to do is clip each carabiner and I'm done. So that's what it looks like under the hammock. Obviously we're going to flip this over. Now I will say, you'll see these little strings here. These did not come on the underquilt. It came with the rubber bands, so the carabiner was on the rubber bands. However, I was on a kayak camping trip, and when I get into this hammock, these will really stretch out, and it actually snapped. And so I had to rig it for the rest of the trip. Fortunately, I was able to get these from Warbonnet's website, but I still think it's not designed great because of how much these stretch out when you lay in the hammock. Like, it'll stretch like down to here. And so it's almost like the underquilt is just a little too short. I don't know, but Not a huge deal. That worked totally fine. Very quick fix, but yeah, so I'm just gonna flip this over and show you what it looks like underneath. So I'll get into the hammock with the bug net on so you can see what that looks like. And it looks like the bug net would be close to your face. It's not. Once I get in, so I have it kind of clipped up to the cords up above, and you can see what the underquilt looks like. So the bug net that's a good 16 inches off my face. I can only lay in here for about 30 seconds before I start sweating because it's super hot out. Before I wrap up the video, I'll show you real quick what I use for other components of my hammock camping. So I got the Eno ProFly XL tarp. I have it in a different stuff sack. It comes in a much smaller stuff sack, but it's kind of hard to get it in when you're out in the field camping. So I put it in this bigger stuff sack, but it's probably down to here. The ProFly XL, I got it on sale for like 89 bucks, and it has a lot of great features. There are some tarps that are very, very expensive, but the Eno one is great. So when it's cold out, so if it's below 50 degrees, I have an Outdoor Vitals top quilt. This is a 0-degree top quilt. Another item that you can get in 0, 20, or 40. Again, the 40 is going to be much smaller than this, but I like being warm. One thing I love about hammock camping is you're just like in this little warm cocoon. Now, insulation is vitally important for hammock camping, especially your underquilt. If you're not familiar with hammock camping, if it's below 80, you've got to have some kind of insulation, whether it's just a pad or an underquilt. But this is a good top quilt. If the temperatures are above 50, I will use this Eno Spark. So this one is rated 40 to 60, and I could probably use this down to about 45 degrees. This is a really great top quilt for the price. So the Eno Spark. And then for my pillow, I've just got this Nemo pillow, inflatable pillow. I've got it already inflated. And then finally, if it's really cold out, like if it's below, I'd say 45, 40, you need some kind of insulation on your head. And if it's super cold, this down balaclava works great, especially if you're using a top quilt. So a sleeping bag, you can kind of put your head in it. And by the way, when I use a sleeping bag in a hammock, I just completely unzip it and use it like a top quilt. But top quilts are just better. I like top quilts. But again, you got to have something on your head. So that's the Warbonnet Ridgerunner bridge style hammock. Again, to highlight the reasons I went with it is the bug net can be completely zipped out of the way. It's got a double layer for putting a mattress in there. It's got the saddlebags, and then you can get it with a really cold underquilt. Well, it's warm, but for cold weather, underquilt down to 0 degrees if you are camping in really cold weather. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I am going to do a review of some Eno products, the Eno Skylight, and then the quilts that go with it. Some other really great features, and one of the main things about that one is it's less money and you can often find it on sale. So it may be another good option for you out there, but stay tuned to the channel for that one coming up to follow this one. Any questions or comments, let me know. If you've used this hammock or bridge style hammocks, let me know what you think about them. Catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.